Right then, this is a quick walk around video and a bit of a landmark moment for us actually, because this is the very first Honda E we've ever had and we are simply delighted to have it. It is a wonderful car. Can do a walk around video. It's a bit early in the morning on this lovely frosty morning, just so the sun doesn't get too glary when I do it later on. First things first, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I am of a firm opinion this is a car you just want to hug. It is the most lovely car I think I've ever looked around, sat in or otherwise. It's just charming in every way. To go around the car for you, finishing grey metallic as you can see, which sits beautifully on the front end of the car. All the retro hues which are given to it, but it looks beautiful rather than contrived. Front of the car, lights and lenses are clear and intact, there's no actual condensation. Charging points mounted on the front, nice and easy. Bonnet, I can't see any mark on there. Near side of the car, down the panels, it's pretty much mirror smooth down there. This is the advanced model by the way as well. Carry on down. Obviously got the hidden door handles, front and rear, keep it aerodynamic. Back of the car. You've got almost a symmetry to the front and back with the lighting. It's all these little sort of styling cues which look fantastic in the flesh, and it will look better in the flesh than it does on the video. It's just one of those cars. And the back, generally all very nice. Offside of the car, driver's side, again beautifully smooth down the panels. It really is an absolutely fabulous car in every way. Let's come to the boot area. I'm not going to pretend it's obviously not going to be the biggest boot in the world, but that isn't the purpose of these cars. As you can see there, you don't always have to keep them in the car, but there they are. You've got the two main charging leads. You've got the fast charging lead and the domestic plug one as well, all here. Let's come into the back of the car. You've got absolutely stunning interior. It looks amazing, I have to say. And on the passenger side, full set of original Honda E mats. Passenger seat there, lovely condition. And coming on the driver's side, door card again, lovely and clean. Some of the footwell areas, driver's seat itself, again in fantastic condition. So inside the car now, and you're inside what I believe is the best interior of any car anywhere. And I mean that. You've got the internal wing mirrors, obviously they're done by cameras, which once you've used them, they are brilliant. And then you've got this gorgeous, I do apologise, camera glitch there, coming across the dash. You've got this wonderful dash design. You can do all sorts of things with this dashboard. You can even have the aquarium and feed your fish if you want, believe it or not. It's absolutely stunning. Dash binnacle itself, just lovely simple layout. 30,288 miles. And we're on this side as well, but it is the most charming interior. If you don't like this, there's something wrong with the world. It is simply stunning. Just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key, all here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test and quite a moment for me actually, because this is literally the first time I've ever driven a Honda E, and I've been desperate to get one of these cars. So I'm very excited at the moment. Just to let you know, the point of this video, or this part of the video, is just to show the car actually in operation. It can be really frustrating to go and see a car which can look perfectly good in a photograph, but when you get there you find out there's actually an obvious fault that shows up with the car, which can be really frustrating, I have to say. Also on these very quiet country roads in this beautiful part of Gloucestershire, even on this miserable day. But there we go, it's not going to spoil my fun. So coming to the car, I can joyfully say, having spent decades working, and selling Hondas, and I worked for Honda previously, I know nothing about this. nothing about this car at all, apart from what I've read. I've always wanted to own one. I'm going to make that brutally honest with you, for the reasons I mentioned in the walk-around section. So coming to drive the car, I've heard about how they drive. I know how Hondas generally drive, and it's why I've always loved them. But I'm just going to go through things I've always done in the past, which would normally start with the engine. Clearly doesn't. Battery, so still press the power button, start, and obviously utterly silent in its delivery. To get the kind of the elephant in the room out of the way straight away is, you know, range. Let's be honest with you. So if you're going to buy this car and you want to do 300 miles before you have to recharge, it's not going to be the car for you. The sort of person that I think that will own and want to own this car and enjoy it for what it is actually someone like me. A, you love your Hondas. B, you don't do a lot of driving actually, and most people actually don't. So those that will want to go up and down the motorways every day, no, it's not going to be the car for you. Those that tend to do shorter trips, live in the city, towns, whatever, I do on average actually between 90 and 100 miles a week, which suits this car perfectly. I'll probably plug it in once a week, probably on my mains charger at home, which I did last night, when it was delivered, to charge it up for this morning, and that will see me through for the next few days. And that's all I actually need. So for me, there's no range anxiety. But for others, I can see it would cross it off the list straight away. But in terms of driving the car, of course it's silent, foot down, and it does go very, very well indeed. And I'm in normal mode, I'm not in sport mode. But the overriding impression is, you know, I've got a Honda CR-V hybrid, and actually feels very similar, because that will run in sort of quiet mode pretty much around the town as I'm driving as well. I don't want to get this chap's feet wet, please, you have to wait. So yeah, I'm quite used to this kind of feel at low speeds, but it is so soothing and relaxing, I have to say. It's a lovely, lovely way to drive around. You know, pulling away, there's no clunks, it's just seamless. It's beautifully done, it really is. Then coming in onto the actual drive of the car, the steering, the chassis itself, very Honda-like, but in a really positive way. Of course, rear-wheel drive, which is you know, nice to have. You know, I've had S2000s in the past, NSX, all that kind of stuff. So to have a steering which has basically got no drive shafts tugging away at it, so they have to kind of dull out that effect, which can dull out the feeling of the steering. This is the opposite. The weighting's really nice. That's the first thing I've noticed. Because again, lots of power steering systems can have particularly overlight, vague feeling steering. This is the opposite. You get feel. It's really nicely done, and it's quick, and the turning circle is ridiculously good on it as well, by the way. But it so far just feels exactly what I'd expect, which is a really positive thing. Sorry, that's just the little radar warning light because we've got snow today. So there's snow on the radar at the moment. I can't believe we've got snow. It was forecast to be raining today, but it's about 5 degrees colder than they thought it was going to be. In fact, it's 1 degree now outside. There we are. But anyway, yeah, come back to the car. Secondly, the first thing I've noticed is I'm loving the ride. It's very comfortable. It's the right side of comfortable, but you've still got feel. You've still got the damping is brilliant from what I can feel. So I can, as I'm driving along, it's soothing, but I genuinely got some sort of feel coming back through the car as well. But the steering and the car very direct in their responses, which again, you know, for those driving around town or on the open road as I am now, is really, really pleasant, I have to say. Obviously, there's absolutely no clunks or rattles from the car at all, from the suspension or anything in that regard. But yeah, the immediate feeling is it's just joyful to drive, which pretty much sums up the whole car. Brakes on the car are fantastic, even though they've got regenerative brakes. which can give some a mushy brake feel with some cars. This actually very, very good, I have to say. And again, so, no vibrations or pulse to come out through the brake pedal at all. And then coming inside the car, which is probably a thing I was looking forward to, aside from the outside, which you just, as I mentioned, you just want to hug this car. But the inside, immediately, you cannot help. You know, this here we are, a miserable old day. It's not miserable, I love snow, but that's by the way. But you're in a car that actually just genuinely, without cliche, it does lift your spirits. It is just lovely to be inside. And it's all about kind of the ambience of it. It's that first impression when you get in. It doesn't photograph as well as it feels when you're inside the car. This screen that sweeps across the dash, which we all know about, with your wing mirrors, which have become second nature within about 3.5 seconds of being inside the car. Brilliant, because they can't get covered in ice or anything, because there they are. But just this unique charm that this car gives inside, which other people have said before, and I'm only kind of repeating what's been said, but it is true. It genuinely is true. It's the texturing, it's the wood effect up here, it's the switch gear, it's the backlighting, it's the graphics, it's every single thing about it. It's just so lovely. It really is. And all working perfectly, of course. You've got your sat nav, you've got other screens, millions of which I haven't worked out 0.5% of what this thing's capable of. And because I'm old, I push buttons and I think, oh, I don't want to do that because I don't know what it's doing. But actually, it's really good. Yes, you've got your aquarium, which I think I might show in the walk-around section. You've got your climate control system, which is nice and toasty at the moment, but does blow out lovely cold air, by the way. As you'd expect, of course, the switch gears of the highest quality, really, really is. All the switch gear feels robust, it feels slick in its controls. You've got driver mode, so I can go forward now and now into sport mode, which really does. And the thing flies along, I have to say. And then you've got this steering wheel, which, yes, it's retro, but it just is right. It's not retro where I can't stand it, where it's just over the top, too much. This is just beautifully, beautifully done. I am massively biased, I readily admit that. Sorry, dash binnacle front, by the way, just a lovely little, information display with your speed. It's just simple. Honda are genius. It's why I love them. It's why I've always loved them, I have to say. And this is, to me, this is your classic Honda. It's flawed in so many ways, but it appeals far more than the flaws will ever allow. So its flaws, let's get straight away, range, for those that need range. For people like me, not bothered in the slightest. Small boot, yep, it definitely is small. It's got all the flaws that come with driving an electric car, for me at least anyway, and I'm honest enough to say it. I panic at the thought of going to sort of different, it's like motorway services, that kind of thing, plugging it in, downloading the app, doing all this kind of stuff. That's actually a lot easier than that, as I found out previously with in a friend's car. So there aren't things to be nervous of, but yeah, so its flaws are that's all they are. The rest of it, 99.9% of this car, is the most charming way I've gone in this short distance from A to B on roads I've known, in some wonderful cars, and I've enjoyed this more this morning, but I knew what I was going to. So take it with a pinch of salt. I can't fault the car in any way, which is actually the point of this video. Me blithering on about all the other stuff, there's no consequence to you whatsoever. But it's wonderful car.